Roger, of course, we love the Adelaide Oval, mate. No doubt the best ground in the world. We might be biased, but everybody says it. And of course, one man has the job with his staff of looking after that magnificent oval. We talk about Damian Hough, the Adelaide Curator, joins us now. Dave, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
Mate, when it is built up that way, and we're not the only ones that say it, around the world, the people that play on that ground, be them AFL footballers, cricketers that come in, they all say this is the best ground on the world. So well done to you and your staff, mate, but you're under a bit of pressure to keep it that way.
Yeah, look, we're lucky to. I think it's been decades of building up the Adelaide Oval, really. So, we play a little part. We really enjoy it. I've got a team of really passionate turf professions that just love to, try to present the ground up as best we can each week.
Mate, I'm interested how most people go, it's not that hard to look after the Adelaide Oval, get the lawnmower out and mow it over, and you don't need to be too smart to do it, but our man's got a diploma of horticulture, so we have to respect him for that. Mate, I was just looking up on you before I came in, and I saw a story where you were talking about 30 tonne of cricket pitch to be lifted in and placed. 30 tonne. And sometimes you have to do it at night, depending on the weather. Yeah. How big a process is that? Yeah,
that's your biggest. I guess the changeover is the biggest part of the season. So very time consuming, way different to when I first started, even when I took over from Les. A hell of a lot different the way we did it then. But I mean, we need to do it. So for us, it's 30 tonne the pitch, and then the machine itself is 30 tonne. So the pitch is 25 metres by 3 metres and 200 mil deep, and heavy. But we get there. It takes about 3 hours a pitch. So do the math. It's we put 7 pitches in on Saturday night, and the team did an amazing job. Got it in during the day and at night, and then we're not quite ready for cricket, but it's not quite that simple. But we get it done and move on to the next code. So it's you don't get too many times to sit back and reflect. There's the beauty with Adelaide Oval. It's busy all the time.
So go back to where you said you started. How did it all happen then? So you'd be the square would be there. The square was already in there.
I've been there since 96, so September 96 is when I first started as an apprentice, and the old square was in the ground all the time. Wasn't a lot of grass on it back in towards the back end of the footy season, and really you had 2 weeks. Les had 2 weeks to get it right, do some renovations. Wasn't a lot of grass on the square, and he tried to encourage the growth and get the cricket away. So it was quite challenging. It was even then challenging to not have grass on the square. You talk to any curator at a suburban ground this year, those same challenges with the lack of rain, the lack of warmth and so much rain. There's a lot of boggy wicket areas out there that the curators are just trying their best to get that grass cover back.
Of course, Les fertilised it with the West End beer occasionally as well. You're not down that road, are you? Hough, you're not?
No, I like a West End, but no, I can't keep up with Les.
Right.
No.
Okay, mate.
No one can, mate. No. Don't worry about it. It's amazing when we talk about this, because that wicket at Adelaide Oval was also classed as one of the best wickets in the land, if not the world. Yet coming from a footy season where the square is already there and there's mud and rain and all the gear that goes on in winter time, to get that wicket to where it was so that idiots like me could walk out and go, hey, look, it was beautiful. That's a bit of work. Les and co.
Yeah, and that's a work that people don't see. So the hours that get put in over the winter, covering up the square to try and keep it from getting too boggy when it rains on a game, or that's when it gets really boggy. But trying to encourage growth with growth mats or with the fertilising and things like that, you actually need Mother Nature to play a part. So if you can get it all working quite well, you get some decent weather and the soil temperatures start to increase. The cooch is going to come back, but the challenge is working through the schedules that you got. So we actually look at it months and months in advance to understand your schedule and your maintenance programs and what you're wanting to do. And then you just got to adjust on the go based on what the weather's doing and how Mother Nature's playing.
Mate, you said the schedule's starting to get tighter and tighter. The demands to be on Adelaide Oval, obviously AFLW comes in now, and concerts are starting to come back, is greater and greater. Is it getting close to this is it, we can't do any more?
Yeah, we're at that stage now, to be honest, Phil, where we can't possibly, push it any further. We're right on the edge. It's great, since COVID, you know, we need to encourage the codes to come back in, and you know, that's coaching clinics as well. The kids love getting out there, and having it on Adelaide Oval is a real positive and a real drive for the clubs to get out there and have their training. The kids love getting out there, seeing where their heroes have played. So we do that, a lot of training, a lot of events. Concerts are back this year. Guns N' Roses is the first one just before the test, and Ed Sheeran finishes us off just before the footy starts again. And the World Cup, of course, is our big cricket one.
What's the staffing now with you? How many guys are on your team now?
Yeah,
compared to what Les had?
We're lucky. We're probably sitting at, we've got 11. We have 10 full-time, including me. We get a 0.5. We get somebody over from, this year he's come from Essex, started today. Spent 6 months with us. But we look after everything pretty much inside the 4 roads in the precinct there, other than the east, the lawns and gardens on the east side, out from the east stands. But yeah, we've got tennis courts for next generation, number 2 ground. Which people don't see,
that you do.
Yeah. So it's good. It's a variety of turf sort of maintenance practices that we get to do, whether it's cooch or whether it's ryegrass, whether it's the old in situ pitches, you know, practice pitches, or whether it's drop-ins and everything in between. So there's a variety of work for the staff to do, and you know, we're going through a bit of a transition now. We're getting some younger ones in, which is provides energy, and because they're really passionate. We've got 3 apprentices now to bring on through.
The best place to start for an apprentice would have to be the tennis courts and the gardens, wouldn't it, mate? Would that be the best place? Where did you start?
Exactly there.
There you go. Hey, mate, we can talk about the ground forever, and I've heard comments.
Did Gary Lyon work on the team?
Yeah, Nathan. Yeah, he was my
Nathan, I beg your pardon.
Nathan was my first employee. So
there you go.
Yeah, when Les retired, we had to put someone on, and Nathan was it. He lasted 10 weeks, and then they realised he could play cricket, so I lost him.
I mean, 100 plus years, so there's a lot of stories there, mate. You've been there for a fair time now. Again, when I was looking up on you, mate, you talked about the 2006-2007 game as being one of the great memories for you. Can you take us through that? Yeah,
well, that was the Ashes when the key. Look, it was Les copped it for 4 days. Really, it was reasonably flat. A lot of declarations. And then on day 5, it just turned, like Adelaide Oval can. It just turned. Warney ripped through them, and then they come out and chased down the runs. I'm not sure how many, but Hussey hit the winning runs, and it went from one of those test matches where, it looked like it was just going to be a boring draw to being one of the all-time finishes.
Which is a typical Adelaide Oval.
Was the last ball? It was the last ball, wasn't it?
It's a typical Adelaide Oval Test match where it looks like it's going nowhere.
Yeah.
And then bang.
And out of nowhere, and that was probably, I think Les wouldn't mind me saying it, but that was the first time I ever saw Les under stress. Like, you just see it. It wore him down. The media were into him a little bit, and he was always, and that's why you respect him so much, because he's always so positive and almost bulletproof, and he's so down to earth and so genuine and a hard worker. But that was the first time you saw it in his face, and from there, the morning of day 5 to the end of day 5, one of his favourite sayings is he went from the outhouse to the penthouse sort of in a day. So afterwards, he likes to celebrate. He turned one on that night, that's for sure.
Very good. Has there been a time for you, mate, where you felt that stress?
The hardest part of the job is the pressure. So the scrutiny that it's under. You don't realise. I was under Les for 14 years, and you actually don't realise until you're in those shoes, and that's what Les said, that there's not many people that understand. You talk to all the curators around the country, and that's the hardest part, is accepting that you've done your best, and it's out of your control, and you've got to hand it over to the players. As long as you're strong and you know you've done your best, I mean, that's all you can ask for. Sometimes they go right, sometimes they don't. And the beauty with us is that I'm looking for feedback all the time. I try to review. I'm always trying to improve, and asking the players and the coaches and the umpires. They're the ones. I mean, I'm not going to talk to a player that made a duck or 100. I'm going to try and find the wicket keeper or somebody who I know that I've got that relationship with that's going to give me some really open and honest feedback, because the only way to improve is to get that constructive feedback and try and implement it and try and keep improving.
Well done, mate.
Mate, we've got to go, but are the players really good at giving you feedback? Are they happy to give it?
Yeah, they've been really respectful. So my whole journey in charge, we try and build that relationship up, and they're outstanding. They really ask the right questions, and they take care, and they're intrigued on what we do and how we do it, and most of them will come out and ask those questions. So, but building that relationship with some of the players and the coaches is the way to go about it, and looking to improve all the time. So when you're not wanting to improve, it's probably time to hand it over to the next person.
Well, Damian Hough was our special guest. No coincidence, the best ground in the world. We've got the best curator here in South Australia. So stay with us, still a bit more to come.